Thank you. Welcome, friends and fans of Bluegrass. Once again, 2024, World of Bluegrass. It's a beautiful thing. I'm Ken White, closing in on 1 year as your executive director of this great organization. What an honor. This once-a-year remarkable week couldn't, shouldn't, and wouldn't happen without the support of our local partners, the City of Raleigh, Wake County, our local organizing committee partners, Raleigh Convention Center, the Greater Raleigh Convention and Visitors Bureau, and Pinecone, or our great festival sponsors, PNC, Come Here and See, and many, many others. In addition, I'd like to thank IBMA Board of Directors for their time, talent, and leadership as together we move forward and write this next exciting chapter of our bluegrass story. Folks, bluegrass is a participation sport. Everyone in this room today is likely a picker, a singer, or at least a lover of the best and most heartfelt genre in the American catalog of popular music. I often say and believe everything I ever learned about living a good life I learned from playing in a bluegrass band. In my younger days, for many years, I traveled the road with bluegrass bands. Show days were 2 hours of inspiration coupled by 22 hours of perspiration, and every day was a show day, whether on stage or not. Our band came together initially because of a shared passion, but a band only flourishes because of unique differences. We bring varied skills and ideas. In a bluegrass band, not everybody gets to sing solo all the time, as much as you tell the lead singer. And not everybody gets to play lead all the time. Your job in a band is to support and lift each other up when it's their turn to shine. And in turn, they'll do the same for you when it's your turn to step up to the mic. A mighty hallmark of bluegrass music is close harmony singing. When it's done right, it sounds seamless. But only with 10,000 hours of practice is the sum of the parts greater than the whole. Now, I'd like to introduce you to my favorite new band, the IBMA staff, working around the clock to make the magic happen this week and all year long. So I know you're back there and stand up when I call your name. On the fiddle, Amy Beth Hale. Playing a G-run on the Martin flat top, Anna Klein. Holding down the bottom end on the doghouse bass, Elizabeth Dewey. Picking the fire out of the 5-string banjo, Ethan Charles. On the mandolin, Kristen Bearfield. And the newest member of our band on dobro, our intern, Haley Grimm. They're going to be too busy to jam this week, I'm sorry, folks. But you will see them roaming the halls. I'm privileged to lead this band that I like to call Kentucky White and the Gallatin Pikers for the past year. And here are some of our greatest hits. Number one, a commitment to the continued growth of the International Band Grant Program, capped by a wildly successful tour by Country Gong Bang. And keep a lookout this year for this year's winner, Johnny and the Yoo-Hoos. Another great thing from this year was a renewed commitment to Kids on Bluegrass. Originally, it was programmed for 30 kids. Last year, we opened it up to 70. This year, Kimber Ludeker and her tribe plan to accommodate over 111 eager musicians. You'll see these prodigious students on many stages this week, so please support them as they are the future of our music. Another significant thing that happened this year was working alongside our dedicated board site selection committee, combing the universe, leaving no stone unturned to find a new home for World of Bluegrass 2025 and beyond. And we'll speak more about that, I'm sure, at the town hall on Thursday morning, so y'all come to that. 12 years ago, Raleigh, North Carolina opened its arms to our fiddles and banjos. Together, we have curated a great event, an annual pilgrimage. Like the swans who fly to Capistrano, attendees are eager to experience World of Bluegrass and have appreciated the hospitality and goodwill here in North Carolina. Even during a worldwide pandemic and a natural disaster, Raleigh has given us a home. We learned together and we grew together. As part of the IBMA mission statement to honor tradition and encourage innovation, it's our duty to grow bluegrass worldwide. From Owensboro to Louisville to Nashville, and now leaving deep roots here in Raleigh, it's important to reimagine and nurture bluegrass in new communities. A change in vistas only strengthens our mission and our purpose. 2025 will mark the 40th anniversary of our organization, and what better way to celebrate our legacy than by making the jump, as we like to say, just a holler over, to Chattanooga. Together we have a big agenda. Please, Chattanooga tour, please, give it up. Together we have a big agenda in partnership with Chattanooga Tourism, the recent recipient of the state of Tennessee's Special Event Fund, a large grant in support of mega events like ours. We are excited for our future. Now, in the words of my favorite recording engineer, don't bore us, get to the chorus. Our keynote speaker today is the winner of 10 IBMA awards, including the 2016 Fiddler and Female Vocalist of the Year, making her the first ever person to win instrumental and vocal categories in the same year. A member of the First Women of Bluegrass, along with Allison Brown, Sierra Hull, Molly Tuttle, and Missy Raines. She also fronts her own hot band of Cracker Jack Pickers. But not only is she a phenomenal musician, but she's also a great songwriter. All of the aforementioned accolades, while outstanding, are not the reason I asked her here to speak today. Great art is often informed by a compelling personal journey. Writing about the specific can often lead to the universal. Becky's work resonated with me, and I believe it will with you. In 2023, Becky was commissioned by the Fresh Grass Foundation to curate a new work. The song cycle that comprises her most recent recording, Jubilee, is a collection of music that I will return to often, year after year, I have no doubt. So please make welcome amazing fiddler, singer-songwriter, but perhaps more importantly, brave human and personal hero, Becky Buller.
Take a deep breath in through your nose. Now exhale through your mouth softly. Focus on slowing down your breathing into a calm rhythm. Inhale, you are becoming more and more calm. Exhale, you are feeling more and more relaxed. Inhale, calm. Exhale, relaxed. Inhale, calm. Exhale, relaxed. Inhale, calm. Exhale, relaxed. Continue to breathe slowly and calmly. The aches and stresses of daily life are floating away. Your tension has been exterminated. Exterminated!
Thank y'all. Exactly 10 years ago, I was standing in the hallway out there about to declare to all y'all my independence as an artist by showcasing tunes from my Tween Earth and Sky album. Was anybody here for that? Oh, I know you were. Yeah. Okay. Jim Rowe had taken me on for booking. Thanks, Jim. But I didn't have a band or a manager or any way of financing the venture. When I started my band, my husband's only request was that I wouldn't bankrupt us. He still has very little to do with what he calls my nefarious business dealings. What I did have that day was a record I'm still very proud of, on a label I'm still very proud to be working with. Thank you, Stephen, Yana, Sammy Mogen of Dark Shadow Recording. And I had a group of good friends who helped me share those songs with you that day. Mike Bubb, Kenny and Amanda Smith, Mojo, Ned Luberecki, and I also had an attack of debilitating stage fright. In an effort to ease my panic, Ned played that video for me. It truly is a tonic. Thank you. So Ned and Kelly too, thank you both so much for being such an important part of my band for the last 10 years, for all the laughter and incredible music, for getting us where we need to be with a not too scary or expensive hotel waiting on the other side, for both of you talking me out of trees, and for keeping this video on speed dial. Y'all, Ned is going into the Banjo Hall of Fame on October 12th. I made him promise to get me Kermit the Frog's autograph. I've been part of the bluegrass community since my parents first heard the music at the Butterfield Threshing Bee in Butterfield, Minnesota, when I was about 5 years old. In this photo, my brother and I are singing Slewfoot. Our favorite line was "brought across the rump." It made us giggle. I took up fiddle so I could sing in my folks' band, aptly named Prairie Grass. Dad said everybody has to play an instrument in a bluegrass band. In middle school, I began writing songs, which quickly became an outlet for my youthful angst, a safe haven, an avenue to express my faith, and a way for me to process the world around me. When I was 16, Lou Reed, Terry Baucom, and Carolina put out the now classic Carolina Moon album. In the liner notes written by the legendary Jack Tottle, I read about a mythical place called East Tennessee State University, where I could study bluegrass music. It was my ticket south. In 2001, I graduated with a public relations degree and immediately went to work for Valerie Smith and Liberty Pike and her label, Bell Buckle Records, for the next 10 years. A former school music teacher, Val would often tell me, "Now you need to know this because you're going to have your own band someday," which is very unusual for a band leader to do. Thank you so much for your mentorship, Val. I never had a clear plan. I just loved bluegrass music, the traveling and teaching, and especially writing songs. After taking a short break from the road at the end of 2011 into 2012, Jeff and I became Romy's mama and daddy. I then spent 2 seasons. So that guy in the background kind of looks like Tim Surratt. I don't know if he goes to Haggie's Catfish in Savannah, Tennessee. But anyway. So then I spent 2 seasons with Darren and Brooke Aldridge. The Aldridges and Val and so many other fantastic artists have recorded my songs over the years, for which I'm truly grateful. There is no bigger compliment than when another artist enjoys your art so much that they decide to make it part of their own. Over the years, folks kept encouraging me to start my own band. I appreciate your confidence in me. I was confident I couldn't do it. Although I've always felt the pull of the music and the desire to create it, I've had a love-hate relationship with the performance part. I would get physically sick at fiddle contests. Until very recently, I've only felt comfortable performing in band situations. Strength in numbers, you know. I'm naturally an extreme introvert, and it takes a lot of energy for me to be who you see on stage. I was certain I couldn't handle the stress of running a band. I was right. In 2014, I had a new album coming out, and I needed to be on the road to sell it. At home, Romy had just turned a year old and was starting to walk. Jeff and I were both exhausted. I was in a corner. I had to fold or make my own schedule. I may be extremely introverted, But I am also extremely stubborn, obsessed with what I do, and incredibly driven. Quitting was never an option. I love this music and our community. Having no other marketable skills, I took a deep breath, held my nose, and walked out on the water. I didn't sink. There are days where I'm still just dog paddling like mad, but I didn't sink. Not at first, anyway. I found myself initiated into the Bandleaders Club. So many of you continue to help me along the way with advice and encouragement. I do my best to pay it forward whenever I can. It's invaluable to know that no matter how many years we've been doing this or at what level we're at, we all deal with the same issues. When I started the band, I began going to a Christian counselor. I'm a Christ follower, and I wanted someone speaking into my mess who also sees the world through the lens of the Bible. I just had so many knots in my brain, behaviors I had been taught or picked up along the way. My counselor would pull a single thread out of the rat's nest I came in to cry ugly about, and suddenly the problem was gone. I realized I didn't have to think about or act on whatever it was in the same old destructive way. There was a more life-giving approach. Meanwhile, the stage fright kept rolling on, and some days were better than others. If you fight fear daily, maybe this quote from Lucy Maud Montgomery will resonate with you, as it did with me the first time I read The Blue Castle. Fear is the original sin. Almost all the evil in the world has its origin in the fact that someone is afraid of something. It's a cold, slimy serpent coiling about you. It is horrible to live with fear, and it is of all things degrading. I don't recall anyone working with me to fight stage fright when I was a kid. Then again, I was a kid and not paying much attention. Many of us in this room are educators. If you're not doing so already, please help your students mentally prepare for performance by sharing any tips and tricks you've picked up for combating stage fright. Mental preparation is a given in athletic training, but doesn't seem to be as emphasized for musicians. Why not? In addition to our work at camps and in private lessons, let's do something about it here at the corporate level. A workshop in the youth room next year, for starters. Also, stage fright might be a symptom of deeper struggles. You may be the first person in your student's life to recognize it and point them toward a healing path. When I was about 16 or so, a professional musician suggested I consider trying medicine to curb the nerves. The culture I grew up in didn't believe in that, and any physical manifestations of issues with the mind indicated a lack of faith. So quit feeling sorry for yourself, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and go on. Yet most of King David's psalms are gut-wrenching laments. In his second letter to the Corinthians, the Apostle Paul wrote that he was under great pressure, far beyond his ability to endure, so that he despaired of life itself. We would call that being suicidal nowadays. And Jesus wept. And he sweat drops of blood, a real medical condition called hematohydrosis, where capillary blood vessels that feed the sweat glands rupture, causing them to exude blood. It's often linked to extreme physical or emotional stress. You never know how you're going to react to something when something happens to you, whether it's good or bad. When y'all so graciously gifted me the 2016 Fiddler and Female Vocalist Awards, I was stunned. First off, my heroes win awards, not normal folk like me. Secondly, why me for the first female fiddler nod? Why not Lori Lewis, Alison Krauss, Deanie Richardson, Tammy Rogers-King? I was also elated. We say awards don't mean anything, but we all know they do. We need those feathers and sequins to help us move forward. More bling equals bigger and better shows. Then my insecurity set in. I felt the heat of the spotlight on my fiddling and the need to earn that award. What if you all found out I'm a phony? But I'm a real phony. After all, I wasn't a real fiddle player. Fiddle was a means to an end for me. I had always been more interested in how fiddle complements a song. I don't know enough waltzes. I still don't buy, sell, trade, build, or fix fiddles. And I don't kill and skin rattlesnakes, which is something my husband says all real fiddle players do, such as Mr. Billy Womack here, who is one of the inspiration behind my and Linda Dawson's song, The Barber's Fiddle. He was the fiddling barber of Woodbury, Tennessee. The night of the 2016 award show, while I was still in shock, Jeff pointed out to me that Stuart Duncan has never won Female Vocalist of the Year. The Fiddler of the Year award put me in with the first ladies of bluegrass, every one of us the first to win in our respective instrumental categories here. Allison Brown, Missy Raines, Sierra Hull, Molly Tuttle. I'm so proud of our cut of Laurie Lewis's song Swept Away on Missy's Royal Traveler album. I love each one of those gals, but I felt so unworthy to be there. Still, I was fighting for it, hanging in by my toenails as we performed here at the award show and the Red Hat, at Rocky Grass, Telluride, the Country Music Hall of Fame. We were Steve Martin's backing band on a run of shows with Martin Short, and we sang Sisters Are Doing It for Themselves at the 2019 Newport Folk Festival during a historic all-female Saturday night headline set curated by Brandi Carlile, featuring the High Women, Sheryl Crow, Linda Perry, and Dolly Parton, who hugged my baby. And we have video of her hugging my baby. After this. See, we really did that. All right, here we go. I'll never wash my baby again. She said, Mama, her rhinestones hurt me. And I said, what? Because I missed it. I turned just a little bit and just enough, and my hair was in the way, and I couldn't see it. And she said, Dolly Parton hugged me. And I said, what? She said, she hugged all the kids on stage. She did? How many kids were on stage? Just me and Mercy. All right. Anyway, there was literally a feast in front of me, yet I could not drink and I could not eat. While in Newport, I connected with Aoife O'Donovan about doing some co-writing and pitched the idea for the song Jubilee to her. She's a touring mama too. Her Ivy Jo is a little younger than our Romy. And like me, she was feeling a little worn at the edges and longing for a season of rest. In early 2020, through text and email, we made it happen. The concept of the Year of Jubilee is from Jewish tradition. They would work the land for 6 years, and then they would let it lie fallow on the 7th. After 7 of these 7-year cycles, on the 49th year, they celebrated a year of Jubilee by reestablishing their covenant with God, forgiving debts, freeing indentured servants, and returning misappropriated land to the original owners, a grand Sabbath, if you will. In 2020, we all got a break, in March of 2020, and I broke. There isn't a soul in here that wasn't impacted by the pandemic. It's changed everything for all of us. Our entire industry shut down. We lost our livelihoods overnight. We're still in recovery, finding our footing in the new normal. Some venues and events never came back. Bands folded. Babies were born. Marriages ended. Many of us lost loved ones to the COVID, to the darkness. Professor Dan, our guitar player, had already given notice that January. I ended up losing half of my band that year. Dark Shadow was about to release my Distance in Time album, but we couldn't market it in all the usual ways. All shows had canceled except one. One of the shows was pivoting to live stream, and it was eating me alive to cancel. but I had no band to play it. Professor Dan and Nate Lee were in strict quarantine. Daniel, the Hulk Harden, our bass player, was willing, but he works at Jack Daniels, and at that time, Nashville was a hot spot. If he did the show, Jack required a mandatory 2-week quarantine without pay. Ned said he would do the show with me, but he didn't want to. I know, thank you. Okay. Even if I had a band, where and how would we get together to practice the new material? I literally didn't sleep for a month or 3 over it. If I did nod off, I had lurid nightmares. As the pandemic rolled on, I taught and I co-wrote, got more comfortable with performing solo by doing some live streams, did a couple duo live streams with Ned from our respective front yards, juggled having both Romy and Jeff home 24/7, enjoyed our fragrant lilacs, watched birds caring for their chicks, all the while retreating further into myself. Some of it is vivid, some of it is a blur. I had a great team around me. Mojo and Yana at the label, Mike Drudge and Rainmaker were booking us at that point. Chris Alderman was managing, but no one could help me make decisions because there were no right answers. I felt so horribly alone. When one more financial pebble was thrown my way, I shattered into a million pieces. I literally felt my brain pop. I know now in a very visceral way what King David meant when he wrote about walking in the valley of the shadow of death. If you're at a crisis point right now, please know you're not alone. I've been right where you are. Yet I'm standing here to tell you it can and it will get better. Please hold on. Your life is unique and precious and sacred. Precious to me, to your other colleagues, friends, and family, your creator. The world needs your voice and your music. If you've lost all hope and the darkness is consuming you, please call 988. That's 988 in the US and Canada. Someone would love to talk with you or reach out to a friend you trust. In early 2020, Rolling Stone published an article with the title, "We Can't Have All Our Artists Die: How the Music Industry is Fighting the Mental Health Crisis." In it, the author cites a 2019 study by Swedish digital platform Record Union, which concluded that 73% of independent musicians struggle with mental health. This figure climbs to 80% when researchers focus solely on the 18 to 25 age group. Music Cares was founded in 1989 by the Recording Academy to help the humans behind the music. Their 2023 Wellness in Music survey found that 64% of respondents noted they have moderate to high stress levels, 59 have moderately to have very high anxiety, 55 have moderately to very high financial stress, and 53% report somewhat to very low confidence that they'll be able to cover living expenses. The financial instability, crushing guilt from pursuing one's passions instead of getting a real job, unpredictable hours, isolation, performance pressure, often toxic culture, and lack of self-care can quickly lead to a downward spiral. It's especially an epidemic within our creative community, y'all. Let's have a moment of silence for those we've lost to mental health struggles. Kudos to IBMA for offering free one-on-one financial consulting sessions during this year's conference. In addition to seeking some financial peace during the week, do something to get your body feeling great by taking part in Jim Lauderdale's Tai Chi classes. I'm hopeful that next year IBMA will be able to bring back the health fair as well as a session on maintaining good mental health in music in the music industry while on tour, on stage, and behind the scenes. Throughout the year, the IBMA Trust Fund is available for those in our industry facing financial emergency, which is, as I've already mentioned, a top stressor for most in our community. Bless all of you who have given generously to help your fellow bluegrassers. If you'd like to donate to the Trust Fund, you can do so throughout the week and any time during the year at ibma.org. As an organization, I'd love to see us go further, perhaps partnering with Music Cares or a similar organization. At the very least, let's please add a resource page on the IBMA website to point folks to things like mental health help. I have Jeff's permission to tell y'all that he's been dealing with depression and anxiety for over 30 years. He didn't mention it to a soul for the first 4 for fear of what folks would think. His mom realized something was wrong and started asking questions that got him on the road to better health. His dad, however, didn't understand why Jeff couldn't just snap out of it on his own. I love Jeff's response. Well, Daddy, next time you have a heart attack, just tell yourself to stop. When you have a broken arm, a heart attack, a stroke, or cancer, you seek the necessary medical attention from the appropriate doctor. When my symptoms worsened beyond what songwriting and talk therapy could relieve, Jeff didn't shame or belittle me. He knew exactly who to take me to. Meet Dr. David Holmes, one of the main reasons I'm still with you today. He told me to give him a year and we'd get this figured out. And he was right, almost to the day. Dr. Dave is big on educating folks about brain chemistry. To that end, he recently started this YouTube channel, stocked with short, practical videos to reach more people than he can help, one-on-one, in his office in Tullahoma, Tennessee. There's a link on the resource sheet at your tables. Please take those with you, if not for yourself, for someone in your circle who is struggling. And by the way, Dr. Dave is an accomplished jazz guitarist and singer, so he was very mindful of making sure any medicines we tried didn't impede my dexterity or creativity. To the extent that my condition responds to medicine, it's a medical problem, not a mental problem. We need to change our perception of and conversations about mental health. We need to silence the shame and stigma surrounding it so that true healing can happen. We finally settled on a medication that helped me feel better and think clearly in the late summer of 2021. On September 3rd, my band debuted on the Grand Ole Opry, and they filmed it. And they filmed it for Circle TV. I felt like the prophet Jonah in the Bible, swallowed up by this giant whale of depression and anxiety, only to be belched up on one of country music's biggest stages. Gracious. It's always feast or famine, isn't it? In the video of the Opry debut, I said, I've been through so much to be here. Now you know what I meant by that. It took a few more months and bumps in the road for us to tweak the medication. Those of you who endured me during that window know who you are. Thank you again for your patience with me and your discretion. Fast forward to late 2022 when the Freshgrass Foundation commissioned me to write a composed through piece for debut at their 2023 Bentonville, Arkansas Festival. That piece became the Jubilee song cycle, the most personal album I've ever made. Younger versions of me hid herself away in her lyrics and would have never written these revealing songs. But I'm daily finding freedom in sharing my story. If doing so helps even one person out there, then my journey hasn't been in vain. My incredible band, Ned, Wesley, Jacob Groupman, and Hulk, helped me arrange and record Jubilee live in a day and a half at the Porches 9 studio on the campus of the Massachusetts Museum of Contemporary Art in North Adams, with Stephen Mogen producing and Dave Cinco engineering. Aoife added her otherworldly voice to the title track. Nicholas Tankersley of Lost Appalachia Trading Company in Fayetteville, West Virginia, created the very special thematic cover art. Join us tonight at 9 p.m. at the Lincoln Theater to hear the entire album. Our full showcase schedule is also on the tables for your taking, as well as stickers featuring elements of Nick's Jubilee artwork. One of the things I love best about bluegrass music is how it resonates with people of all different walks of life, culture, and faith. I literally have friends from Canada, Europe, the Middle East, Asia, and Oceania because of this music, many of whom are in this room right now. Thank you, Mr. Monroe, for bringing us all together. I have no way of knowing what your particular faith tradition is, but I respect you for it. As I said before, I'm a Christ follower, and as such, I believe in the power of praying to the creator of the universe. I've been praying for our community for a long time now. I've been an active IBMA member since 1995. For those of you out there who are struggling to maintain good mental health, please know I'm praying for you specifically, for your burden to be lifted, for you to be led to the help you need so you can in turn be light, life, hope, and healing for those in your circle who are also struggling. If you'd like to talk to me directly about this, please catch me during the week or at a show, or send an email to my website. Katie Kirchner will make sure it gets to me. Katie is our wrangler and booking agent and a Momentum Award nominee. Thanks, Katie, and good luck this week. Above all else, let's enjoy our last big old bluegrass family reunion here in Raleigh. Thanks to the City of Raleigh and the Convention Center for being such gracious hosts these last 11 years. Congrats to all of this year's nominees. Best of luck. Thanks to Ken White and the IBMA Board of Directors for the invitation to speak with you today. And I'll leave you with a quote by Ian McLaren that's at the end of all emails from my friend and co-writer John Lowell. Be kind. Everyone you meet is engaged in a great struggle. Thank you.
The amazing Becky Buller. Now I'd like to invite each and every one of you over to the Lincoln Theater at 6 to celebrate the kickoff of the Ramble with Sister Sadie and friends. And I know a lot of the friends that are going to be playing with her, and you won't want to miss it. So I'll see y'all over there at 6 o'clock.